Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, YouTubers. I'm going to try to project my voice and blowers on. There's an exhaust fan. I don't think I'm going to survive without air conditioning, so need to get it turned on eventually. So maybe some of you recognize this scene. This is just a kind of an audio check and an oddity, something I've been curiosity pursuing. This is a scene, some of the closing scenes from the movie Citizen Kane. And he's apparently had some kind of a stroke. I mean, he's just staggering around. He's breaking things, throwing things. Whatever his name is like William Randolph Hearst. It's two syllables. Thomas Gerald Kane. I can't remember. Well, let me see here. Yeah, I just totally messed up I lost my thing. Okay, forget that. So anyway, it's the same syllable layout as William Randolph Hearst. He's a newspaper magnate / politician, incredibly wealthy man, blah, blah, blah. I mean, the house is gigantic. It's a castle, and there's, it looks like maybe 40, 50, maybe 100 servants watching. So, anyway, as he's breaking things, he picks up this snow globe, and then he's walking over, staggering over, and he's disturbed it, so it's shaking, and he looks down at it, and he sees the snow. And then he murmurs, Rosebud. Now notice that the K of his, what do you call them things, a tie clasp, or whatever, is hanging upside down and backwards. So remember one of my points, and this is based on videos by Chippy the Chipmunk. Well, whatever the guy's name was, nobody liked his voice, so he sped it up, and I can't understand. I don't even watch any of his stuff now because he's stuck with it. It's just like, excuse me, I don't care how slow or how stupid you sound. Don't sound like Chippy the frickin' Chipmunk. But anyway, Kane backwards, E-N-A-K, Enoch. So, it's possible. Contention, theory, hypothesis, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so after that, there's the scene where these are a bunch of reporters, and they're talking in the warehouse about what did Rosebud mean. That was his dying word, Rosebud. What did that mean? Oh, maybe it's something that he wanted and never could get. Maybe it's something he never was able to come up with. So, whatever. But you can see the size of this warehouse. There's statues and created things that he bought, things that nobody ever opened. They just got shipped in, stayed there. So there's this gigantic museum / like a literal Smithsonian Institute of stuff. Like this pet statue that you see right here in the bottom left is now, it's panning back even further, more stuff. Now, one thing I noticed is just interesting is in this shot here, you can see two globes. There's one here and one there, and there might be more, but just above those there's globes. So just interesting. And then just an insane amount of stuff, just obviously beyond any. So then it starts kind of panning down and closer and closer. There's the two globes again, spread across there, and it comes down further and closer and further and closer until it gets to right there. And there is the sled, the snow sled, right here. Okay. And then the next scene, yeah, right. In the next scenes coming up here is workers coming. He picks it up. Now there you can see it. If I inverted that, or if you could wrote that around, you know, it says Rosebud on it. And here the big chunky guy in the coveralls here in the foreground with the white, looks like a cook's hat on to me. Taxi cab. He throws it in the furnace. Rosebud. That's probably the closest and best and clearest shot of it. And then the paint burns down and leaves Rosebud and the Rosebud on there. So, don't do that. Okay, so I had the question, was there any connection between Rosebud and, I put Rosebud Firmament, okay? And it pulled up a book called Proverbial Philosophy, A Book of Thoughts and Arguments by Martin Farquhar Tupper. All right, this is the book. Proverbial Philosophy, A Book of Thoughts and Arguments, originally treated, blah, 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 by Martin Farquhar Tupper, published in some ridiculous, 1800 sometime. So it was a book that, feasibly Wells, more likely Hearst, could have read, probably would have read, especially William Randolph Hearst being a newspaper man and very, very well educated. Financier of the couple of Wilkins expeditions to Antarctica. Freely let us wander through these unfrequented ways and talk of glorious beauty filling all the world. For beauty hideth everywhere that reason's child may seek her, and having found the gem of price, may set it in God's crown. Beauty nestleth in the rosebud, or walketh the firmament with planets. Interesting connection. Interesting use of the two words in the same sentence, which is what I have plugged in. Rosebud, firmament, boom, it's right there in one sentence. Interesting. Okay. So then, is there any connection between William Randolph Hearst or Hubert Wilkins, the expedition guy, and Rosebud? Well, this is really not, I'm sure I would think somebody's come up with this already, but if they haven't, okay, I did. Connection between William Randolph Hearst and Rosebud. This is pretty doggone simple. There's the sled they talk about, Rosebud. Okay. And there's all kinds of, this is one of the biggest mysteries. This is, supposedly, some people consider this the greatest movie of all time. Go figure that. Like I said, Orson Welles had complete control of it. Financed by William Randolph Hearst. It was telling William Randolph Hearst's story. And William Randolph Hearst was married, and he wanted to get a divorce, and they didn't get a divorce. But he had a girly friend, Rosebud, actress Marion Davies, the woman newspaper magnate. They did not get married. They lived together. He said the heck with his wife, and they lived together for basically the rest of their life or something like that. So when his wife would not go through a divorce, William Randolph Hearst chose to live with Marion Rosebud Davies, mistress of the newspaper or whatever. So Mistress Manifesto. Marion Davies, actress and mistress of William Randolph Hearst, Rosebud. So there you have it. Interesting little tidbit for you to chew on. So, okay, sound check. Hopefully that came out okay. If not, I'll have to turn the furnace off and just suffer, and I won't read very much. So, it's about suffocating in here. Like choke, suffocating. All right. Crazy stuff, but, who knows? Enoch, E-N-A-K, Kane, K-A-N-E. Who knows? It's just a possibility. Now, Hearst didn't go on the expedition. I had thought I read that he did, but it said he financed the expedition. He financed one to the North Pole with this Hubert Wilkins. He borrowed a submarine from the United States Navy. It was plagued with problems from the start. Got way up there toward the North Pole and found out that he didn't have his diving planes, like somebody had removed them. You know, I mean, like sabotage, seriously bizarre stuff. Engine went out, another engine went out, rebuilt it in England, took off, never was able to do what he wanted to do. And William Randolph Hearst, who was financing it, sent him a message and said, look, give it up. It's hopeless. You can try it again later with a better ship. So they canned it and ended up sinking, this is interesting, sinking the submarine with the permission of the United States Navy in a Norwegian fjord. Now, the same guy is also famous for being the first pilot to fly from the old world to the new world. Him and another guy, younger guy. But Hubert Wilkins flew from Point Barrow, Alaska to the unpronounceable islands in Norway. So anyway, and I'm wondering, like, what did it look like on a flat Earth map? You know. So just my oh shoot, it was up, and it has to reload. Of course, it has to flipping load. So I'm just going to dot it in here. I don't have to go back and. There's Point Barrow, Alaska, where the blue slot is, and this is the island. So they flew from Point Barrow, Alaska to those islands, and of course on a flat Earth map it would have been about the same. I mean, they were flying over the North Pole, so how much more direct can you get? So anyway, just a bizarre thing. They ended up sinking that United States sub somewhere in a Norwegian fjord, which would have been, you know, Norway, obviously. Sweden, Norway, so somewhere along the coast of Norway, they sunk that sub. So he flew a plane to a Norwegian island and sunk a United States submarine in a fjord. Oh well. I don't know. You tell me what it means. Here's another really flipping oddity. I've said this one before, but I'll say it again just for grins and giggles. If you look on a topological map, you will see that, go away please, that Greenland, whatever it looks like, is theoretically on the topological maps average altitude 10,000 feet. It's bright red. Antarctica is bright red. And don't ask me, you know, I'm just throwing it out there again, just somebody might know something about it. Odd chance of serendipity, synchronicity, whatever. So there you go. Just oddity. Yeah, very strange. I mean, the Himalayas barely show up. The Rockies barely show up, and the Andes Mountains barely show up. Even though they have some very, very high mountains, they don't average 10,000 feet. So why Greenland? Why is Greenland so weird that it's somewhat, what's the connection between Greenland and Antarctica? I don't know. All right, that's it. Thank you. Good night. Oh yeah. Turn the blippity blop blop dot dot off. Come on. Come on. Oh, don't do this to me. There we go. Okay, bye-bye. You been tortured enough there, kitty cat? It's still running. Oh, come on. Oh.